Alright, so today we're going to be taking off the front right rotor and then attempting to pop out all of the ball joints in the front suspension and continue to remove everything. I saw online that most people seem to just hammer everything out, but in some situations it seems pretty invasive and could potentially damage parts, so I decided to buy a puller kit. These bolts are to help with removal of the front rotor, as you can see. Screw them in there and basically just crank on them and they'll pop out the rotor. Pieces all over the car, especially the suspension, are just kind of rusty and need a little help to separate. So for some reason, I always go for the stubby ratchet first. In most cases, I like it better. However, it did not work well here. Yeah, you can see how it's a little rusty. Pretty much all parts, even if it doesn't make sense, I still like to tag them. Pretty much the only parts I don't tag are when they're obviously not the stock bolts. Prepping all the ball joints and all the other parts for removal by removing the castle nuts. I'm putting together the puller tool. Hindsight, I probably would have been fine with the Amazon Special. It was significantly cheaper and it would have worked in this scenario. I had troubles with this on this upper ball joint. As you'll see, and I'll explain later, it's just too long. It just doesn't work correctly in this position. Yeah, it needs to be straighter on. Honestly, I probably should have cut that part a little bit shorter, but I really don't want to re-edit everything. So I will say this speeds up a little bit. I should probably do the opposite, where the videos are a little shorter at the beginning to keep people's attention and slowly make them longer towards the end after you're invested, but apparently I'm doing the opposite. You'll see me do that occasionally. Usually I edit it out, but I occasionally do that just on the GoPro to try to see and make sure that I'm focused on the right area. So I usually point at it just to try to get the field of view. So this lower ball joint was just such a pain. I mean, that part was not part of the lower ball joint. That was the puller tool. I think I actually already sprayed these down to begin with. I actually can't remember at this point, but I spray them like 2 more times on video. That's pretty nice. This lower control arm on my new car is gonna get replaced with this aftermarket part. So you'll see the big bolt, front fork, and the ball joint. So this ball joint, as I'm thinking about it, doesn't matter if I screw up those threads, just hammer it out. I probably hammered this thing for like an hour, if not more. I mean, I'm only showing a little bit of footage. I hammered this thing forever. So I decided to ultimately hold off, get a second opinion, as I'm having a friend come over the next day. So worst case scenario is just gonna cut it. So I separated. Here's the piece of the knuckle that I want. This is the ball joint, the tie rod. I need to pop that out of there. That is what it should have done on the other side. The lower ball joint, I meant. That's too long to fit right there. I actually buy the Amazon one. So I might have to just hammer that one, I don't know. I guess we persist. So I might not have filmed that, but what sucks about this side is it still has the rotor on and the caliper. Cause I stripped out the bolt at the bottom of this, so I can't get this whole assembly off. It'll be a lot easier once this whole arm or the whole knuckle is off. So So while I'm waiting till the next day for my second opinion, I'm gonna take a look at the rear trailing arm in the back. Worried about that's this bolt, because if it doesn't come off, a lot of people end up having to drill this out, cutting a hole in there. But we'll see what we're lucky enough to get to do. That's not gonna fit. Oh, lucky us. How the heck did I do this at the junkyard? They must have not had the exhaust on the car. So that little piece that you can see bolts into the trailing arm and into that area that I just showed, I actually just ended up cutting that piece. I believe it's called the rear toe arm. It's just a little 5-6 inch piece, and I just ended up cutting it at the junkyard. But in the end, I didn't take the piece from the junkyard because they wanted hundreds of dollars for it, and it was ridiculous. I realized that taking the exhaust off is going to be the easiest solution for this, so although I haven't really shown it for the sake of time at the end of my videos, I clean up, put all my tools away, at least all the wrenches and sockets and everything like that, screwdrivers, and clean off anything, especially if there's brake fluid. I get that that's not a normal mechanic thing to do, but I really hate when things are greasy and dirty, so have a good one.